Fred Warner is having a terrific year. The rest of the Niners aren't. He really is. And it's looking like he's going to get more money than Eric Armstead, George Kittle. I don't know. Everyone's saying he's the best middle linebacker in the league. Currently, the highest paid middle linebacker is Bobby Wagner, making $18 million annually. If I were Fred Warner's agent, I would enter the negotiation asking for 20, maybe willing to come down from there. But the last time a defensive player on the Niners asked for $20 million a year, the Niners traded him without even negotiating. That was DeForest Buckner. So my question is, A, is Fred Warner worth $20 million a year? And B, if he dares to ask for it, are the Niners going to trade him too?
I don't see them trading him. I think they kind of learned their lesson, at least from the Buckner thing of, while he's cheap, you got to hold on to him at least a little. But I think they do have a way to sign him to that $20 million or $17 million, whatever it's going to end up being. Because if they cut D Ford and Weston Richburg, I wrote down the cap numbers. I had Grant explain to me a little bit about the cap earlier before the show. But $16 million saved toward the cap in 2021 if they cut D Ford. There's a lot of dead money in 21 and 22, but they get $16 million right there. And then Weston Richburg is $8.4 million saved in 2021. Same thing, a lot of dead money. Right there, that's $24.4 million for the cap. And that's a way to get Warner back in the building for the next couple of years. I think he's a guy you got to build around. With what the Panthers did with Luke Kuechly, that's a way they kept their defense alive. And with Bobby Wagner, that's been the Seahawks' way to win games the last couple of years. Not the Legion of Boom, it's Bobby Wagner.
True. That was the guy that they were most intent on keeping throughout the whole thing, which is interesting. Jack?
Yeah, Warner's definitely worth $20 million. He's their best defensive player. He's the guy that you should be giving the money. The money should have been going to Buckner and to him. Those are the two guys that should be getting the money on the 49ers defense. So the two best guys, and they have one of them left. They better keep him.
Yep. No brainer. Unless Leo disagrees. What do you think, Leo?
Nah. I think you got to keep Warner. With this franchise, they love paying their middle linebackers, and Bobby Wagner, I just looked it up. His average cap or his average salary is 18, but his cap hit only goes over 18 1 out of 4 years. So that's something similar Prague could do with Fred Warner. If his cap number, say, is 20, his average salary is 20, they're going to want to keep him long because he's getting a hell of a lot better with his pass rush. And he could cover wide receivers as a middle linebacker, and that's just something you don't see too often on this defense. He's a leader that these defensive players love. He's a smart player. He's like Richard Sherman as a middle linebacker. So you're if he could just add more of a Navarro Bowman-like pass rush, the kid's insane, and he's on his way to Canton. So there's no way they move on from him.
Yeah, I want to say, hell yes, he's worth $20 million a year. And last year, I think there were whispers coming out of the Niners organization that, Buckner's great, but no defensive player is worth $20 million a year unless he's a D-end or he's Aaron Donald. I think that was it. No defensive tackle is worth $20 million a year unless he's Aaron Donald. Well, they better not say stuff like that about Fred Warner because they were wrong about DeForest Buckner. The reason that DeForest Buckner is worth $20 million a year is that even though it's not just how good he is. He has 2.5 sacks right now. So it's not just his production. It's his reliability. It's the fact that he's not going to miss a game. He's going to be a leader in the locker room. He's going to make other players better. That's not Eric Armstead. I mean, he's floating through this season with everyone else. He doesn't make other players better. Fred Warner never misses a game. Fred Warner makes other players better. Fred Warner's a leader. All those things are worth money too. That's part of what you're paying for. That's part of why they should have kept Buckner, and is part of why they're going to have to give Fred Warner $20 million a year. He's not just their best player. He's not just the heart and soul of the team. As Leo said, he's the brains of the defense. He's the quarterback of the defense. He's their best player. He should be their highest paid player going into next season, period.
I think that's a great point you brought up Aaron Donald, because you could say Fred Warner's the Aaron Donald of the middle linebacking group in the NFL. So the 49ers may feel different in that aspect to where, okay, he's the Aaron Donald of this position, so he deserves that $20 million.
Good point.